All right, Greg, welcome to the Mastermind Mansion.
Thanks.
So just got off with your partner Malad, and he dropped some bombs. Well, you guys both dropped some bombs downstairs, right? So I wanted to kind of dive more into like the business model of recurring revenue.
Sure.
And he talked a little bit about what you guys both did, how important it is, right? But you guys had to actually get to that point where you had to learn the model, and there was some bumps and bruises, right? So talk to me a little bit about getting there, but just some of the hurdles along the way of getting to that model. So you talked about your bottle cap and a few things. So tell me a little bit about some of the hurdles you had actually getting to that model.
So I mean, like the biggest thing that was like our first hurdle was just the fact that we knew we wanted to implement something. We just didn't know exactly how to.
Right.
And we knew of like better solutions, but we just weren't at that level yet.
Right.
Because that's how we just ended up figuring out, okay, well, what's like the simplest form of like, how can we basically just set this up? Like, I think it only took us like a few hours of just trying to like, just jimmy rig it together. We always say it's like kind of like we used, it's like Band-Aids and like sticks. That's kind of like how we put it all together. It functioned, but it wasn't going to last forever. And like, as we continue to evolve, that's when we were like, okay, like what's the next level to this? And like, how do we get there? And even one of the softwares that we were using for like the past couple of years, eventually we just phased it out because we're like, there's a better solution that serves us even longer. So it's like, it's always just figure out like that initial part. And like, you know, plus I think it's also sometimes like your experience as well. Like he had experience with like recurring from his agency. I also equally had an agency as well. I was just much smaller. I didn't have like as many employees and all that stuff. So while I was still charging people, we were both on the same page of like, yes, we both understand like the power of this and like how that will compound. And so it was also like him and I were figuring things out. Yeah, I think it really just matters. Like if you just have a mindset of just like kind of figure it out as you go, like the book example of like Ready, Fire, Aim, you don't necessarily always have to have everything figured out from the beginning. So like some of the hurdles that you might encounter like at a lower level aren't necessarily like the same things that you're going to experience later on. So it's just a matter of like getting started. I think the biggest thing is just like predictability and cash flow. So like a lot of businesses die because they just don't have enough cash flow that comes in the business. And some businesses it's a little bit different. Like if you're a service-based business, well, you're not fulfilling on a product, so like your cash flow might be higher because you're just fulfilling on that service that day. So the money comes in, you don't have to worry anything. Although with like e-commerce, depending on like if you're holding inventory, well now you're having to buy stuff up front, and so now you're paying up front, but then you have to wait to sell those products to recoup the money that you made. So then you're essentially always tight on cash flow. So we looked at this as like, well, not only does this help us generate cash flow for us to be able to fund inventory if we wanted to, it also pays for a lot of other expenses that we're not 100% reliant on. Like we have to sell this product to make that profit to then reinvest that into the business. This is compounding as we're going. So even if like we were to say like, okay, like him and I talk about this all the time, which is consistency is more important than it is about like the scaling. You know, some people are like, I want to scale to like 100K a day. And I'm like, that's cool. I'd rather us do like 10K a day consistently every day. And yeah, we still end up doing $300,000 a month, but every single day, if we know we're adding, you know, 30% of these people to recurring, well, that compounds every single day. And so now at the end of the month, even though like this guy made like 100K or like a couple 100K in sales, okay, we almost kind of like taking like the tortoise route. It's like we still won the race because we just kept compounding. We got 300,000 in sales, but then we also added $200,000 in recurring, and that will carry over next month. So next month, even if we only sold 100,000, we still make 100,000 or 300,000.
That's amazing because you also mentioned that when you have the recurring model, is that you have money coming in just to take care of your basic bills. So you're not worrying about having to take care of your basic bills and then actually build your business. So I love that. So thanks for coming up. I mean, it's very important that, you know, we dive in and just unpack some of this stuff. So thanks for you and your partner coming by. You guys dropped some bombs downstairs. So, but I know you want to get back to learning. So thank you for coming. And
Thanks,
I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it.
All right.